Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. We are going to be making a slimline card today. It's been a minute since I've done that, but yeah, I'm just pulling out some of my favorites and some of my new favorites. So the stamp set I'll be using is No Bones About It, and I'll also be using the coordinating dies. Now they are sold separately, but I'll be using both today. The Slimline scallop die is one of my all-time favorites, and that's the oldie that I'm pulling out that I absolutely love. And then another kind of oldie, but relatively new to me, is the Bats Galore embossing folder, which you can see that I've already used both of them. Just simply ran the piece of cardstock through each product through the die cutting machine. Now later on I'll also be bringing in the Quick Strips sentiment die set. Didn't have that out in the beginning, wasn't sure what I was going to use, but that is what I end up doing. But this card comes together pardon me, it comes together relatively easily. I have a card base that I believe was 8.5 by 3 3/4. It wasn't quite 4, but yeah, I think it was just 3 3/4. Well, I've got it right here. Let me measure it. More like 3 7/8. So I guess if we're being specific, 8.5 by 3 7/8. So anyway, that is what determined this overall size of this card, because I already had that cut and folded and was just in my stash. So, yep, I ran the green panel through the die cutting machine, and then I ran the same green panel through the embossing folder through the die cutting machine, and that's how we got that where it was. Now, to get the oval frames, I ran another piece of cardstock through the die cutting machine with the die again. And remember, that is the Slimline scallop die. And the inserts to the oval frames are just now in my stash, and I also have an extra frame, so those will be in my stash for use later. But as you could see, I had to kind of tape it all together on the back to hold those frames in place. Now if I were just going to have my panel flat down on the card itself, I wouldn't have had to do that. I could just glue everything in place. But because I knew I was going to have it lifted, as you saw me doing with the foam tape, I knew that I needed to adhere those frames to the base, otherwise they would not be staying in place. So I could easily have made this into a shaker card, but I didn't want to do that. I just wanted dimension. So that is why I went back and added the foam tape all around the perimeter, and then again up between each of the ovals. Now you can see that I'm coloring these guys with my ovals, my olos. Words are always hard for me. I do apologize. Once I get these guys colored up, which is very simple coloring, right? They're skeletons. I'm giving them some pinky on their cheeks, and I gave them green eyes, but they're skeletons, right? They really don't need any color at all, except a little bit of grungy to show that the bones are kind of aged, right? But I will go back, and once I have them glued in place in each of their respective windows, then I add some more foam tape behind them as well, just so that they don't fall through. They just need that added extra little bit of support. So just carrying on with my coloring, you can see I have a leg and an arm stamped out there as well, and I do color them up. I don't show it on screen because I don't use them. So those little extra pieces, I went ahead and die cut them out, but now they're just in the envelope or the storage pouch with the stamp and die set. So continuing on to color. Now I have this coloring sped up by almost 4, so it's going really fast. But even at that, like I said, there's not a whole lot to do. I'm just using 3 tones of gray. These are my warm grays: warm gray 0, warm gray 1, and warm gray 3. And then of course coming in with the little pinky tones on the cheeks, and the 0 pen, which is a colorless blender essentially, and just blending it out so that it's not so bold, and then a little bit of green around the pupil. The end. And then here's my dies, just die cutting each of those pieces. And now this guy, you could have him hanging upside down, peeking in from the side, however you want him. So I've zoomed out a little bit here just so you could kind of see the whole thing from a bird's eye perspective, if you will, just a larger view. So I trimmed off those little extras, and I have him kind of hanging out the window, and I have glue in all the touch points, if you will, everywhere that die cut is going to touch that card panel. I have a little bit of glue. Now here's my hanging guy. I cut off the excess pieces as well, and now I've just put a little bit of glue like right under where his chin would be, and I have him hanging down, but kind of at an angle. I wanted him at an angle. Now the panel that is behind this piece, once I start putting it together, it is actually an excess piece of mixed media card, and I had been using some of the mica stains. I cannot even tell you the colors. They were new colors, and I don't know them yet. But just some, you can see there's some green, there's a little bit of gray. I think that's it. I think there were 2 shades of green and a gray. But you can barely see it. There's a lot of shimmer back there. On that first oval, you can kind of see it a little bit better in that one. I'm not sure, to be honest, if my camera picked it up at all during the filming or the photo taking. So, but just know that there's a lot of mica stain. And this is, like I said, it was just an excess, but I just thought that it looked really cool. And there's a lot of shine and sparkle, but the color itself is very subtle because it was just a little, because it was not on the main piece that I was working on. It, like I said, it's excess. It's over at the side, kind of overspray, if you will. And so here's where I'm actually constructing the card, which comes together very easily, just centering each panel on the next. And there I had just a little bit of overhang that I didn't want sticking out from under that front panel. So using that liquid glue so that I can have that wiggle room and slide things around. And of course, this is my Bearly Arts Precision Glue. I do love this glue. I do. In fact, I probably need to get a refill because this is running low. Now, I use multiple kinds of glues. It just depends on what I'm doing, but this one is my favorite. Now, this black panel is just over... Oh, numbers are so hard. Numbers are more hard for me than words. Anyway, the black panel is a little bit longer than the white card base, so I do end up trimming that down some. But here it is. See that? See the speckly and the fleckly and the sparkly back there behind the skellies? This was a fun card to put together, and really it was easy, and it was super fast. Yeah, you can't really see. You can see just a little bit of speckle. But anyway, that's it. That is my card for today. No bones about it. You are awesome. If you've been with me for a while, or if you're relatively new, I just want to thank you. I appreciate you all. You truly are awesome. And I couldn't do this without you. I wouldn't have a need to do this without you. So if you're not already subscribed, hit that button, ring that bell. Y'all like the video. If you liked it, drop me a comment downstairs because I love to connect with you down there. Until next time, this has been Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Mwah! I'm out.